box of goodies. Got the bags. Slam Specialties.
Those aren't Slam Specialties. Those are Firestone 2500s.
Oh, you already know what they are?
Yeah.
Oh. Can't really do that shit. I don't know. I fucking found them. I don't know.
Slams are built differently.
Oh yeah. I couldn't find the other ones. I don't know what size they are. Okay. I know they're in my shop, but I find them. I don't find it. That's it, buddy.
Gonna put her in the old 4WD, eh?
Yeah, I will. This truck, these tires suck on this stuff. I don't drive it that much because of the torque on it. Yeah. I always slide everywhere.
Are we facing downhill, you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I have airbags. I'm gonna bring my back in.
Okay. I've also got the crane I can pull it a bit with.
Come on, compressor, kick it. That truck has airbags. Once we get it over this hump and going down, it won't be too bad.
Oh no, it'll be easy with this thing.
Actually, you know what, buddy? Not that fucking heavy.
So I'll just make sure it doesn't roll into anything.
But one back on, the other one in, bud. Look at you go.
He's trying to pretend to be something.
That's all we all are trying to do that.
Get the chain long enough?
Come on, dude, push it in. Oh, you just sit there now. Watch. You don't need that. Okay. Once we get it going down this little hill here, we'll be fine. I don't want to fucking fly.
Oh, that's going way too easy. Alright, let me put the crane away then.
You don't need that.
I thought downhill was gonna mess
Look
it
at
up.
you and your crane, your engine hoist.
Little crane. This is a power sectioning tool, roof chopping tool.
You know what I want? I wouldn't mind buying one of those like that for the front of my hoist so I can hoist up cars on it.
My holes also. Don't buy one of these, my holes.
Yeah.
It's got a higher capacity.
Oh, okay.
And holes will see it there.
I was just going to put like a strap on the front two posts.
Yeah.
And then if you be able to pull it up on the hoist there, that's it.
Yeah. That's exactly what I got that electric winch for it, but it's 12 volts. So I was thinking about
You bring the snowblower out there first?
Yeah.
Before you fucking put that in the way and then you're going to be really screaming at yourself?
Yeah, so. I was even thinking I'm going to put it over there because I just finished cleaning this garage out.
You need heat in the shop, buddy.
You got heat.
Yeah?
Yeah, why did I have it on when the garage is open?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It works pretty good now?
Oh, yeah. Crank's in here.
Here, I'll move that. I can just see the future and, you know, that is fuck. Those supposed to get rain on Christmas?
Yeah, it's not going to be like 8 rain.
Yeah. You look terrible.
Everyone's like, oh, yeah, I love white Christmas.
Should I? Well, she's going to roll on a roll, but we'll deal with it, I think.
So it's just not heavy.
No, she's not that bad. I can put this chain over ramp it. Once she hits this ramp, she's going to want to roll. I'm going to put this up here so she gets going. Hey, okay, I have to request something.
Yeah.
When you do your videos and you're making fun of the guy that fucking did the welding before, don't mention me.
When have I ever made fun of the person who did
I know. You know how it is.
that shit comes full circle. I played that game.
Just keep her going straight in.
Okay, right at the ramp.
Okay, you want me to bring the front end over a little bit, or?
I can always do that with a jack.
All right.
Let's just let her go. Go a little bit more.
Here's a pocket.
We're gonna pass this ramp here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're good. She's not gonna put her in gear.
There we go. Yeah.
What feels tiny?
Yeah, tiny truck.
That was way easier than the last one. Trying to ship out here.
Well, okay, I wanted to go over this with you.
Yeah.
This I just put in to mock up for the width.
Yeah, that's
But I was gonna cut that off. I want to cut that off. We can put a bar in here just for a rear end bumper kind of thing. If someone fucking slams into the back of me, yeah, 2x2 bars.
You want it to be crooked like this or straight?
Fuck off. Okay, that's the only thing I just did it for make sure it doesn't fucking bow or anything.
So if I do like a 2.5 or
Yeah,
whatever,
I just thought
do you want it to protrude a little bit past this or flush with that?
It
Just
just
fits
fits
right there.
Yeah, this fits in nice the way it is.
If I just make it flush.
Yeah, I think you make it flush, it'd be fine. It's just I just think if someone rear ends me, at least it protects the gas tank a little bit.
Yep.
Okay, put that. Box of goodies. That's good go in here. I need you flat. Dude, I think I used that once, but this thing is a fucking piece of shit.
It's a fucking pain in the ass.
Because I was shrinking metal, and then I had to, and the changing over was a bitch.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
I think you don't want these? Because if not, I'll keep one. I like to keep one for a spare.
Yeah, I'll just keep them here. We'll have to make sure if they're the right bolt pattern. Doesn't try to spare.
All right. Well, even for my other truck.
Where's your double D? Well, that's the same thing. The other
Oh,
one.
that's in the cab.
Okay, so we got D shaft. All the shit. Okay.
Yeah, and then,
If those are set for a 5-inch,
I didn't know if they would fit my old truck, my 56.
they're 6-inch. So the bolt pattern across here is different.
Oh, so they wouldn't work, because I usually throw them in the fucking toolbox when I travel.
Yeah, the back is, what, the back 7s on your truck? 6s and 7s. So you have to go with it. You have to get one of the slam bags.
Even anything, you know what I mean?
Well,
Just
these are 7s.
I always like to keep them for a spare.
Those are 7s. So
That's
those
what
are
I
the same
need.
pattern.
Something like that is what
But
I
if you
need.
go, when we're ordering all your shit, we can order a spare.
Just a spare, it's nice to have, right?
Welcome back, everybody. We got the next one in the shop here. Saturday we shipped out the 50. Sunday the 48 F100 came. You saw us just unload it. So I didn't need any of the front sheet metal. What we're going to do is front air ride. The bag's a little kicked off, so we're going to make some corrections there. We're going to get the steering hooked up. Coyote motor. Maybe we'll do something with that. I don't know if I'll have time to. Inside the truck, we'll get that steering pumped out a little bit. Transmission tunnel, probably get into a nice trans tunnel too. This has a 6-speed. In the rear, it's got a parallel 4-link. We'll do a panhard bar for it. In the rear, it's also using a Slam Specialties taper bag. He's got a beautiful Ricky's fuel cell for the Coyote motor. He's got all the pedals in there. Spare bags. Don't know if we'll use them or not, but make sure our pinion's set. Nice drive shaft loop. We'll have to figure out the drive shaft on this. The Mustangs are, what I'm told, is a 2-piece drive shaft. So this will be a single drive shaft conversion. A little bit more trimming out around on the firewall, but definitely a cool truck. He's had this for a bit. I'm stoked that we're going to be working on it and get him a little bit further ahead than where he is. We did his white and black truck, I think 2 years ago. So this one's a little different. I've never used these taper bags before. I'm actually kind of excited to use them. Just something different. And we are also going to use the brand new Airlift ALPS 4 system on this. So that's another cool thing that I'm looking forward to. We'll 3D print a holder for the controller and go through a bunch of different tank options. Maybe a 4-gallon if we're going to try and go across. Maybe 2 gallons, 2.5 gallons, run 2 of them underneath of it. Keeping in mind that we do have the exhaust, X-pipe, everything that's going to go into this truck. So we're going to get into this. I think what we'll start with tackling is the suspension itself. So we'll make sure our pinion's set. We'll get these rear bags in. I do have to look them up. I know taper bags have a ride range, so we want to make sure we're within the ride range so that it's not collapsing onto this ring, that it is an engaged and overlapped bag. So that'll be something cool. Do a little bit of research on that. The front has Slam RE5s in the front right now. So I'll take the plate out and just make a new base plate for it and get that bottom kicked over a little bit more. I think what we're going to do with the sway arm or the sway bar really comes into the front there. It doesn't give us much room to move that bag, so I'm thinking about moving the sway bar ahead towards the front of the truck more and make that a side mount, so that gives us a ton of room for that. Same on this side. You can really see how much it gets in the way. So we'll do that. The shock mounts look good. I don't think we need to mess with the shock mounts at all. This truck is not going to lay frame. The way the back tires sit, if you're looking at the box on this truck, this is actually like right at the top of the fender. And if you extend the fenders up on this truck, it's going to ruin the lines of the body. So we had a good talk the other day, went through it, and I think for this truck, the best look is going to be the stance it's at right now, and then air it up. The C-notches, we're going to chop the tops off of them, step them down a little bit, and that way there's less of a tunnel that needs to be in the box floor. Beautiful Coyote 6-speed, the tank, the Ford 9-inch. parallel 4-link. Like, this is going to be an awesome truck. Dakota Digital gauges. I did it column. Short shift. It'll eventually get routed up and over. Bench seat. He's going to respray it once it's done. You know, the Coyote with the Doug's headers on there. I think if we kick this down, put a double D shaft in there and bring it down to here, and then put this union here, and then kick it over to the rack, I think that's going to be the best option for it. Really nice US mags on it. You know, some gigantic meats on the back. Fat Man Fab front clip. And he joined that to the original frame, boxed the entire frame all the way to the back. You know, it's beautiful work done to it already. A bunch of this is just tacked in right now, just to set things up to mock. So awesome start to the project. Like I said, really excited to get on this one and get it steering, get it moving. The new airlift system. Maybe we'll see about mounting the clutch, brake pedal, fuel pedal. It's a drive-by-wire system. And see how far we can go in the time frame that we have. So, you know, let's get into the front. I'm going to start by disassembling the sway bar off of here. And then down here we got 2 bolts. I think they're 1/2 inch. We'll get the sway bar out of here. Then we'll work on the bags, getting them positioned. And then we'll relocate this sway bar. I definitely want to move it ahead. I don't see a reason why I can't. And I think that these feel like they're thread serted or captive nuts on the inside. So what I might end up doing is cutting the bottom and flipping this so that I keep the sway bar captive nuts, but move everything to where I want it. A little bit of pressure on this, just with the sway bar being tipped the way it is. That's that side. let's just put the bolts back into the frame. It does feel like a thread surd under here, but if we do this, we definitely won't lose anything. I'm going to take all the end link bolts and put them into the sway bar, and that way all that's together, and then we'll put the sway bar on the back of the truck, and we'll do a measurement from the spindle to the top of the cup and see where we need to be, and also measure our frame down. We're also going to slice some of this frame off. Okay, the other thing we talked about is getting rid of these frame horns. And I've already caught my leg on it a couple times, so I'm going to do this. So we talked about doing 4 inches from the front. So that is right there. Okay, I'm gonna work on getting the tires off. Putting some stops in. We'll get the lower bag plates off and start to look at how to space this bag so it's not going to hit the bottom and rub the frame. That's the biggest issue right now, is the way this kit was set up. It puts the bag way too close into the frame. The top, I actually don't mind the top mount, but the bottom is just so off that it's gonna blow a bag. So I may end up shortening the upper and spacing the bottom, making a new bottom, spacing that bag mount out further. But I'll get some real numbers here, make sure everything's spaced right, and then we'll come back and look at what we're doing for our bottom mount. Alright, wheels off, and you can really see, let me take this camera off. So you can see here, so the upper mount is kicked towards the back. It's right up against the frame, so that's a rub point. You can already see a little bit of rubbing there just from cycling. And you can see all the space at the front here. So my plan is to bring this lower out further this way, and you can actually see right here where it's rubbed on the plate. So bring this one out this way, bring the bottom out this way, and then that sway bar mount right there is going to come over to here. We'll do some steering movements and make sure we're clear of everything. But the way this is, that's literally a matter of time before you blow a bag. I like to have tons of space, at least fit your thumb between the bag and anything, and that way you're never going to have an issue. With the slam bags, they typically do come over the top of the bellow, so where you see this piece here, that needs to be cut off. So I'm going to take this top off. I'll take this whole bag right out, and then we can look and see what we're actually dealing with. But just wanted to show you, even on the bottom on the cross member, there's some rubbing there. If we put the light in the back, the smallest amount of room, but once that starts to grow, actually we're at a drop right now, so when it was up all the way it was hitting. So let's get this bag out of here and see what we can do. The other thing I'll do once this is in is tack the bolt that's from the bottom, and then you won't have to have a wrench or a socket to get it. You'll just have to undo the top and it'll drop out. Or actually we do the nut, and then you don't have to try and worry about stepping that down to get it out. that bag is sad. Oh. It's got offset holes on the inside. I wonder if we just offset that, what that'll look like. Okay, let's pop this. Okay. Okay. So, what does that look like? Oh, there's another hole there too. Okay. Okay. Let's have a look at what this looks like. That already looks better. Let's see if we can get this bottom bolt in the other location. All right, let's get our set screw in there. Okay, here's what I found. So stepping this across to the next set of holes, stepping this bottom one over, look at the space we've created here, the space we have here. Obviously the sway bar bushing would have interfered heavily with this here, but with this offset, we do get the drop. We do not get the clearance on these bolt heads. So you can see here where they're hitting the bag. They're hitting the bag on there. So we're close, but we're still far away. So I think I want to cut this upper mount and shorten it. And then the bottom, I want to build a plate up off the bottom to get away from that. So it needs to be probably 1/2 inch tall. Take 1/2 inch out of this. This is kind of leaned on an angle too. You can see it when we come up to the frame. It's leaned. So we'll probably cut it off the top, cut the top flange off, get it sitting where we want it to sit, and we may kick it this way, just a little bit. We could actually get rid of this overhang here, center it back. I think that's what we're going to do to clean it up, because there's no point in having this if we're cutting this anyway. So we'll cut that. I'll probably recut a new plate to fit this. The bottom we'll end up cutting. We'll weld on to this plate and then cut the center out of it and do our 1/2 inch spacer up. And that'll fix it and that'll make it look really nice. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to slice this, put our plate on here. We still may tip it. We'll see. The bottom we're going to do a 1/2 inch stanchion to get this bag right away from these bolts. But we're miles away from this frame, which is awesome. And that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so I got these plates. I just did my riser. That's where my bag's going to sit. I hate hole sawing, so I drew up a quick circle in Fusion. My entry and exit points are on the inside of the circle. I'm going to pick my origin as the center of the circle, and then when I come over here, I'll bring my tip down, engage it in the hole that I want to cut the center out of, because I already know my center is my datum. So it's right there. We'll go onto the screen, set that as our origin. Let's set our height now that we're out of our center point. Right there. And hit start. And now I've got a really nice concentric circle around that old bolt hole. Some cleaning up to do, but that's fine. This is the top of our other one. So we'll do the same thing. We want the one, let's set this back to 0. We'll bring this down, set that into our hole, bring it up, we've got our center point, set our depth, and start. that's cut. This one's cut. So I cut my 1/2-inch riser. That's gonna go on there. And then I'll cut a plate for the bottom. The RE5 bags have the same cutout as a RE6. So I'll just go into my CAD files, pull out my RE6 bottom plate, and cut 2 of those. Alright, if you all saw my short, we completely abandoned the old style. So this was the old bracket. I cut the top off to use inside. These were the bottom plates that I put risers on. It threw the bag right into the frame, so built up this. So we've got an angled plate on the bottom, so it tips it towards the front, towards the wheel. And then we've got an angled plate on top that makes everything straight up and down in the opening here. So that bag is perfectly parallel with the frame now. But it's a tight space on this front end. I'm not really sure why, but with this, everything's sitting in there nice and straight. We've got a nice opening for the 1/2-inch NPT. On the bottom, I do a center bolt and then 2 slotteds on the bottom, so you have a little bit of adjustment there if your alignment is off. But when I do all my setup, I bolt either this block or this builder bag. So that one's just a piece of aluminum. This one's my builder bag. So I either bolt one of those 2 in, make sure everything is set up, and then obviously we've got the RE5 bag in there. Here's the other one. So we got to paint these up, get the fittings into them, and then we can assemble. But here's the passenger. So you can see that slight angle on the bottom plate, and then we're not even close to the bolts now. On the upper, you can see it sitting in there. We welded in the bolts so that you only have to tighten these nuts now. You don't have to get a wrench up from underneath or a socket to help you get it in there. The shocks are in the right place, so those are fully welded in now. So I'm going to jump on. Now the bags are all out, I'm not worried about sparks getting everywhere, so I'm going to do the steering now. So this, we're going to extend this shaft down to here, and then put a universal down here. The frame right here, the engine mount needs to be slightly opened up for the U-joint down here. And then we've still got the sway arm to put on, or the sway bar to put on. We were going to step that back a little bit, so that might result in more welding onto our bottom plates. But we'll see, because now we want that bar to be out here. So we'll get the steering hooked up, and we'll move this left to right, make sure we have an opening in here still. We should, because this is just going to come over here. And our old sway bar bolts are there and there, so we might just bump it back one hole pattern, because the original hole was right in the center of that plate. You can see that here. So it was in the center of that plate. So we want to move that, like I said, outside of this control arm. So I might do a bottom plate that uses these 2 holes from the back side, and that'll just be our sway arm plate, or a sway bar plate. So I'll have to get longer bolts for that. I just picked those bolts up the other day, but we might have to go with some longer ones. But I think that's probably our best option, is to do a separate plate, and I can bend it around and make it do what I want it to do, and then it's completely separate from the air ride bracket. So I'm just going to move on to the steering right now, get that figured out, and then if I have to design a little bit more in the plasma, I'll do that, get those cut out, and I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, so we got the steering done. So what we did was, we talked about doing the linkage, or the universal joint there, We got a little bit of steering column sticking through that joint. It's going notched out in the frame there, and attaches to the steering. So everything moves nice and free. Perfect. So that's steering done. So the last thing we need to do is our sway bar. So hopefully that's not as much grinding as the steering was. Front end is assembled, so we got our bag there, our sway bar. I bought a thread cert tool and we did the bottom of the sway bar, moved it out. What I did on the bottom was the top plate there. I mirrored it on the bottom and gave us a sandwich plate. So it's 3/16 plate, top and bottom. This piece here is stepped down a little bit for the sway bar to go underneath of the tube. Sway bar fits nicely. Steering's done. Bags are done. Shocks are done. Get the wheels and tires on this thing. And this front suspension is a wrap. So we'll be moving on to the back. Shortening up that C-notch. I just looked up the information on the Slam bags, the taper bags. So they have a ride range that they want to be in to be happy. Fully slammed range, which I'll set up to. I won't set up to, sorry. I'll set up so that when the car is at the ride height, the bags are at the optimal height of, I believe, 8.5 inches extended. So that's what we're going to aim for. And we'll come back when we're ready for the rear, which will be tomorrow. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what's going on, tell your friends, subscribe, throw some comments down below. A lot of you guys are working on 48 Fords, which is awesome. So tell me about that. The 50 Buick stuff has been going like crazy. I've emailed some people the CAD files for that. I'm not trying to make a buck on that. I just like people succeeding on it and getting their rides on the road. So tell your friends. Thanks, guys.